David hid behind a tree, practicing in front of a mirror again and again until he found a smile that felt right. Then he walked into a shop and picked out a few foods he had always wanted to eat. The shopkeeper eyed him suspiciously and asked if he had any money. David confidently took out the coin he had just gotten. The shopkeeper sneered, told him to leave at once, and said that amount of money couldn't buy anything. David left in disappointment. On the street, he saw other children walking hand in hand with their mothers, and he couldn't help feeling envious. But when it came to his own mother, all he had left was a vague memory of their parting. He kept reminding himself that he was just a messenger, and he still had a mission to complete. Along the way, he met a couple whose car had run out of gas. He agreed to help them buy fuel from a nearby gas station and earned a small tip for running the errand. With the money in hand, David immediately returned to the shop. This time, he bought a whole bag of bread. He followed a forest path that led away from the crowds. At dawn, he was awakened by the sound of rabbits. He passed a field of blooming sunflowers, met a girl as beautiful as an angel, and saw a house as grand as a castle. His tense nerves finally began to relax, but the next moment, a boy suddenly tackled him, mistaking him for a thief. As the punches came down, images of the thin and brutal men in the camp flashed back in his mind. David instantly went on guard. He snatched back the stolen letter, kicked the boy to the ground, and turned and ran. While fleeing, he came upon a small wooden house on fire. Without hesitation, he rushed inside and rescued the girl, Maria. At the dinner table, David felt the warmth of a home for the first time in this family. Because of Maria, he learned how to truly smile. He saw a round globe and realized that on the way to Denmark, he would still have to pass through Switzerland and Germany. But when Maria's parents pressed him about his past, David immediately shrank into a corner, as if startled. Seeing his reaction, the couple quickly realized their mistake and apologized again and again. That night, he lay in a bathtub filled with foam. Memories of soap seemed to slowly surface, but they were still incomplete. Even so, those memories made him feel that all good things were not meant for him. He put his worn clothes back on and left the bread shaped like a blessing for the sleeping Maria. In his eyes, he did not deserve to be protected. David set off north once again, but on the street, he was unintentionally caught up in a workers' protest. The soldiers suppressing the crowd took him for an accomplice and threw him into a prison truck. In panic, he pulled out the letter he carried close to his chest, only to find that the wax seal had already been broken. Inside the letter were his identification papers and records of his imprisonment in the labor camp. To escape, David took out his mirror and used the reflection to spot the handle outside the truck door. He unwound the bandages from his burned hands and looped them around the handle. Just then, the soldiers brought in another prisoner. Noticing David's plan, he rushed over to stop him. At the last moment, David managed to escape. He ran desperately onto the highway when a horn suddenly sounded behind him after the car stopped. The driver turned out to be the same crewman from the Italian ship. David asked why he wasn't still on the ship. The crewman laughed and explained that the job was too boring, so he had quit, and then asked if David wanted a ride. The crewman could only take him as far as Milan, where the two said goodbye. After that, David arrived in a stretch of wilderness.